Good evening, Facebook family. It's your girl, Lakeisha Mosley, the one and only host of The Convo with Keisha. I am back tonight with my last interview with the HBCU Alumni Band Anthology book. I am so excited, y'all, about this book coming out. I just don't know how much information I have gained just this week alone about the band in college, y'all. Y'all think all they do is juke and dance? But these ladies and gentlemen have definitely showed us what it means to be a band member at a HBCU, number one. But what happens after you leave school and you go into life? So I definitely am so excited to have you with us, Ebony. I know that we are going to have so much fun chatting tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm excited to chat with you, sis. So before we get into the good stuff, start by telling everybody a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay, so first, I am a graduate of North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I am a two-time grad. So undergraduate degree is in graphic communications and my master's is in information technology. So for those of you who think you can't get your advanced degree from an HBCU, look to me, did it twice. Okay. So I was in the band. I played flute and piccolo my years in the band. I currently work as an IT professional. So I've been working in some role in IT for about 22 years now, maybe. It's been a long time. But right now I'm an Agile coach. That's my primary role. And, I'll talk a little bit more about Agile later, but I've had probably 4 different careers in IT, and the Agile coach and the Agile practitioner one, it's my favorite. It's the one where all these competencies kind of bridge the gap for all of the things I'm really passionate about. So,
yeah, oh, wow. And you would think how that all comes together. It's like so unique. I've heard a little bit about it, but that's super, super cool. So HBCU band. Was an HBCU your first choice for college?
Yeah, it was my first and only choice. For those who aren't familiar with my origin story, so to speak, when I was graduating from high school and it was time to decide what to do next, I knew that I wanted to go to A&T. A&T was the only school I applied to. I grew up in Durham, so I'm from Durham originally, Bull City. Anybody out there watching? So North Carolina Central University was always right across the street. I spent a lot of time on that campus, got a lot of love for the Eagles, but I also spent a lot of time at Duke University. So I always knew that I had options. It's kind of fun growing up in a college town, but being at a HBCU, coming from a high school that was predominantly Black, all Black sometimes, being at a HBCU just felt right. I wanted to be around people that look like me, that talk like me, that has similar experiences. And even though, Black people, the Black community, we come from different backgrounds, and we're not like a single hive mind, so to speak, but there's something really interesting about being a part of this culture. And I was somewhere that welcomed that, championed it, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't a minority. So that was one of the great things about going to an HBCU is, I was a part of the majority. And A&T was just an easy choice. I mean, I love the band, so it was like I want to be in A&T's band. So that was real easy.
Right, and that makes so much sense. And I love how, for me, I went to a PWI, and the experience is so different. After talking to so many of you, it's just so different. So, like for me, I feel like I got a great education. However, the connection after I left school, that was it. Done. I think I may talk to 1 or 2 of them. We're not friends. But with y'all, it's just, okay, I know you and I still know you, and we still, connect, we still talk, we still hang out, those things. So it seems, so much like with family, more family oriented, more like everybody looks like me. So I can vibe with them, a little bit better than say someone else. So I love how, that was your only choice. And
Yeah.
not the first choice, but the only
Yeah, it was nothing, even though I knew I had options, and I understand it was a risk to one, just apply to one school.
choice.
But I don't recommend it for anybody that's on their way to college right now. But it was my choice. I was pretty single-minded. But yeah, to your point, there's one thing about being a part of the A&T alumni community. I mean, we are Aggie Pride all day, all the time. We'll shout
Mhm.
at each other, passing each other on the highway.
Right.
To be a part of that community and that network is really, really special, but also to be a part of this larger community and network.
Mhm.
Of HBCUs. We got each other's back. We look out for each other. We can talk about each other, and but we won't let other people outside of the community talk about us.
Hey, Dad, like we don't play like that.
Yeah. So yeah, it feels good. HBCUs really make you feel protected, in my opinion.
Right.
And going out into the real world, especially in a society that doesn't always value bodies like ours, it's important to know that you come from a place that validates you and says that
Exactly.
you can have.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so different. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about your HBCU experience in the band. How was that?
It was wonderful. When I was shy. I was a shy person. Some people might, that know me from high school, some people have different experiences with me. But in my head, I felt like I was an introvert and a very shy person. So it was really scary, to
Yeah.
be a freshman going into the big, going to, A&T and being a part of this huge band and, being around all of these new people. And I can remember when I went to band camp for the first time, and I met, people that were also freshmen that came from high schools where, they were playing music that was so complex and complicated that I'd never
Mhm.
seen before. And I really wondered if I belonged here, or if I could hack it.
Yeah.
And I, was really fortunate, to just want to be exposed to that kind of talent. I love music, and being a part of the band just kind of grew that in me. And I love being around people that could arrange and play, and that just consumed music all the time. I
Right.
can't. I'm not a musician at all anymore, but I love being around people who were just music heads. Aside of being band heads. But yeah, I was really shy. I wasn't very confident as a young college student, and but being in the band really helped that, because even though you were part of this large organization,
Mhm.
a large group of instrumentalists and performers, I think it's a myth to think that you can hide in the band. You can hide on the
Yeah.
field. People don't really know exact. They're just looking at this big, this huge group of people working
Mhm.
together. But in a band room, you can't hide.
Right.
It's where you got to make sure you got your stuff together. So it really prepared it. Being in a band just prepared me for being prepared, and it also helped me get over my fear of failure. And that sometimes you got to fail a little bit or screw up a little bit in order to get
Mhm.
better and grow. So yeah, I was my early days of being a part of band were filled with a lot of anxiety, but it was also really fun. I
Yeah.
really, really fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right. Right. And you think about a school that large, number one, going for the first time and then being in band. And I'm hearing these stories about how, once you hit the yard, you don't belong to nobody but the band. It's from
Mhm.
day camp to
Yep.
everything else. And so it was great that you were able to navigate, through all of that, I know for me, I see the band as being a huge part of the HBCU experience in a whole. I mean, if you look at commercials, you see any materials, there's always the band somewhere present in
Mm-hmm.
any of those aspects. So, why do you think the band is so instrumental to the HBCU experience?
Well, one, the band is singular to the culture, so I think about God, I'm blanking on it. The Spike Lee movie with Tisha Campbell.
Yeah, School Days.
School Days, thank you.
Yeah.
So if you think about School Days and how at homecoming, everybody was super excited about homecoming, but they knew the football team was going to lose. Like everybody knew the football team was going to lose.
Right.
But it was like the band saved the whole experience. It was like, yeah, we're going to lose homecoming every year, but the band is what made the whole experience worth even going to the game. And so, I think that's part of it, is that you get something extra with going to a football game at a HBCU. It's the one place where at halftime people don't go to the concessions. It's like, no, you this is where you want to be at halftime. Right. And while we support athletics and our football team, when we're performing, and basketball team when we're in pep band, like we support and value our athletics, but we also recognize that we are part of the jewel of the performance of HBCU,
Yeah.
So when it doesn't surprise me to see marching bands front and center when it comes to marketing universities and programs. Also, it's because it showcases that all of the talents at those universities are represented in the marching band.
Right.
So at A&T, I can't remember how many people were engineering majors or education or nursing. And I was in the School of Technology, so agricultural majors. We were just all over the place.
Right.
So I think it's really important to show the dedication to excellence at that level. We're at all levels, academia, and for our love of performing and playing music, even if it means that, we have to sacrifice just being a regular college student.
Yeah. I've heard about that.
I would say that for me, it was worth it because, as inclusive as HBCU marching bands are, it's still an exclusive club. The rest of the school can't go where we go. There are spaces where the marching band exists where you can't go there unless you are a part of that.
Right.
It's a there's a culture within the culture there. We speak a whole nother language. So
right.
So yeah.
Exactly. That's so true. I was talking to Terry the other day, and she mentioned, she was like, I heard this piece and I was moving my fingers like I had my clarinet, and somebody saw me and he came over and he said, "What instrument did you play?" She was like, "How do you know?" And he was like, "I saw you moving your fingers," as if you had an instrument. So there's a connection, that's always there, because you all don't just listen to music to just listen to music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Y'all listen to music because you can hear the different notes. I know sometimes you're almost like, "Oh, did they hit that note like that? Oh, that's kind of bad like that." Those different things.
There's things within that really pull us in, and I've forgotten a lot of my fingering for my flute, but there's just certain songs that have a certain beat and rhythm, And
Right.
I can't help but, if I'm listening to I don't care where I am, whether I'm at home or somewhere else. I've been known to embarrass my friends because I'll start marching in place. And I'm like, y'all know that that's a march that we did, because it just kind of feels right. So
Right.
it's the start of a dance. It's like, oh, the arms get to moving,
Exactly.
okay. So yeah, it's how, and I think I think marching music in the marching band is slightly different than music elsewhere, because there's
Mhm.
something about how that music envelops you.
Right.
Standing in front of a band, as particularly an HBCU marching band,
Mhm.
they are blowing across the field at the other band. Like,
Right.
the energy of that is like nowhere. Like, unless you've done it before, I can't even explain it. So I'm always, let's go stand in front of the band. So yeah, it's an awesome experience.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. But I mean, you think about it, and it's super competitive. Um, you know, we all love each other. But however, when my school comes to your school, we gonna talk noise about our band as opposed to your band at your school. That's
Oh
just
yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah, it's all competition, and
Right.
I can recall one year, um, A&T went down to FAMU, and back when I was in school, A&T was the small band with the big sound. We were, I felt like we were a solid size band, but there are so many other bands that were bigger than us.
Right.
And I
Right.
think in the 90s, A&T was one of those bands that kind of proved you don't have to be the biggest in order to be the best, or in order to have the most heart, or in order to, just roll up and blow on somebody.
Exactly.
So we went to FAMU. We were at FAMU, and Dr. Hodges was our director. And, it was the end of the game, and it was about to be the fifth quarter. And I think we were playing back and forth across the field, but we were so far away. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that stadium, but we were so far away. And I remember Doc going, "Go!" We just ran down, because we were just so hyped. We was little,
Right.
FAMU was huge, and we wanted to blow on FAMU.
Right.
I
Right.
was a freshman, I was like, yeah, let's go get them. So we ran across the field to stand directly in front of FAMU, like this huge band of instrumentalists. And here's A&T, this little band, like, try it if you want to,
Right. Right.
I love that. And I think that's also something, that I take away with me. It's part of my personality where, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the loudest, but, I'm not going to be pushed around. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up every time. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to work hard. And, I might not walk away with the big win, but you're going to know I was there.
Right, right. Yeah, Diana said, yeah, Diana. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people go to games for the band. Like, we may or may not care about the football team, but we definitely, you know what I'm saying? We definitely coming for the band. We gonna dance with them. Like you said, they didn't even care that the football team was losing on 2 days. They was there to see what the bands we're gonna do. And I love that. Now last night, I had some FAMU alumni on here, Dr. Joram and Asia, and they look, they say they're a little bougie. They was elevated. They elevate their band, or whatever. But it's so funny how I think all HBCU bands are fierce in that way. Like, they don't care. They like, listen, I'm showing up, and this how I'm showing up, and it don't matter how big or small, how big my school is, whatever. Listen, this how we showing up.
We own ourselves, I mean, in that moment, rushing across the field, running across the field to stand and blow on a band that was 2, maybe 3 times the size of yours, might have come off a little bit ratchet, but so, Anybody that was there that day will always remember that day.
Exactly.
No matter what side you was on, no matter what band you were in, if you was there, you remember that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, we owned who we were. I think A&T, as a band member, it was important for us to carve out our own place among the marching band community. I think we borrowed from styles from a lot of other programs, but we made that our own. There was something special about A&T, and it could be because where A&T is located, right in North Carolina. It's kind of like in the, right in between this space of SWAC and MEAC and CIW.
Okay.
It's all of those styles kind of intermingle with A&T. And I think, we were and are, part of the best of the performers. I love all HBCU bands, but I'm sorry, I'm always going to be partial A&T.
Of course, listen. That's where you're supposed to be, partial to. Is where you went. Oh my gosh, I love that. Talk a little bit about what you do now.
Yeah, so I do a lot now. So in my day job, I work for a consulting firm. It's called Insight Enterprises, and I work as an Agile coach. That's my day job. But as I was saying earlier, I love talking all things Agile. So that's my day job. I'm working with clients, coaching up software development teams, helping them work better, work collaboratively, and deliver quality solutions. And then I also have my own training business, EBK Syndicate. We provide scaled Agile framework training and certifications. So think of Agile as a mindset and a concept, thinking about work. So it's this big umbrella, thinking about work in a way. And under that umbrella are all of these different methods of doing Agile. And scaled Agile framework is one of those methods of doing Agile. So my company, EBK Syndicate, we provide certification training through that body of knowledge. My partner, his name is Bowie Kalala. He is a FAMU graduate. So I should ask him if he was at that game because we were in college brothers.
Ask him, like, you remember how we rolled up on y'all like that?
Right. But we partner together. We work with FAMU's continuing education program, and recently we are partnering with North Carolina Central's continuing education program to bring scale Agile framework training and certification to their graduates, to their pipeline. And for us, EBK Syndicate is a passion project in this line of work. Well, in IT period, IT is still a very white male driven space.
Yes.
Getting better. But it is still very white male driven. And in particular for the work that we do as Agile professionals, there aren't a lot of people that look like us. You don't see a lot of Black men in areas of leadership and training, and you definitely don't see a lot of Black women. We are highly educated, highly certified. Between the two of us, our list of certifications are pages long. But we also thought it was important that as we work in this community to help educate people about these roles, about these practices, that we let them know that we are HBCU graduates. We come from historically Black colleges and universities, and we want to introduce these concepts to our HBCU family. Collegiate partnerships are really exciting and important for us. But I also have Next Path career coaching. So through that, I'm really just helping people find the careers that they're most passionate about. I've reinvented myself a lot of times within the IT space, and I'm always looking for opportunities or making myself available to people who
Right.
are wanting to do something that they feel passionate and that brings them joy. I don't believe in working just for the sake of working.
Right.
I
Exactly.
want to like what I do, and I want to know that what I do has value. And so, through my career coaching business, I help people find that and prepare for the next phases in
Mhm.
their careers.
Right. I love that. I think that is so needed because a lot of times I think, we go and, we get jobs just to get them. But to
Mhm.
have someone walk you through what that process, is, how that looks, what's next. For myself, I went into initially my degree is in criminal justice that I'm not even using. Why
Mhm.
did I want to go into that field? What were the factors, and it was just like, oh well, I just wanted to do it for what?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I went to A&T, I knew I wanted to do something with art and computers. But
Mm-hmm.
my mother was really worried about that. She didn't quite understand. This was like the mid 90s. And so the concept of graphic design was still kind of new. And
Right.
I was really fortunate that at A&T there was this new program, and I didn't really know what it was called. I just knew it was art and computers. And I talked to someone in the School of Business, and so well, what do you really want to do? And I was like, something with art and computers. He said, well,
Mm-hmm.
got some program over there. Going over there to the building with the radio station in it. But to know, that's also something that was really wonderful about being at an HBCU is, you find yourself connecting with instructors and people who care about what you care about.
Right.
It's not just a numbers game. They want you to be successful, but they want to put you in places where you can really apply your energy, and get something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I have all of those things going on, and really, one thing that all of my work has in common is just the concept of servant leadership and
Yeah.
working for the good of the collective. And
Right.
band prepared me for that. So
Right. I love hearing that. I think more so now we have been talking about servant leadership so much now that I hope it's ingrained in us a lot more.
yeah.
And that like Dana just said, yes, agree to educators. I think we have to give back in that way. Like you said, we have to educate the collective. It's so many of us out here that don't know the mere basics. I was talking to one of my colleagues who is white, and she was saying the same thing that she feels like, you know, as entrepreneurs, sometimes we don't give back enough. We get to a certain level and we're like, this is where I'm at. You trying to get here, and we don't reach back, to help someone else. Or if someone comes to us and says, hey, Ebony, I think, agility coaching is something I kind of want to get into. How do I get started? Oh, well, you can book my session for, and, she's like, that shouldn't always be our first response.
Yeah. Knowledge is free. Time is money, but knowledge is free.
Right.
So I think it's important, especially for those of us, a part of those of us that come from the Black community,
Right.
those of us coming from the HBCU community. I think it's
Right.
important for us to be unselfish with our knowledge.
Yeah.
And that's part of that giving back. We were talking about diversity earlier, and I think that's why part of the reason why Agile is such a passion for me is that the values of Agile are perfectly in line with the conversation that we're having around diversity, inclusion, and equity right now.
Yes.
The practice of Agile and the mindset of it is very people centric, inclusive, bringing people from different functional backgrounds together
Right.
for a common purpose. So even when I'm talking Agile from a work perspective, I'm also coaching towards diversity, inclusion, and
Right.
so it all really does align. And so, however I can kind of share those philosophies, whether it's my regular job and my side job and my other side job, the message is pretty consistent.
Right.
So it shows up everywhere.
Yeah, and it definitely has to. I love that you do that. I think it is so important. One of my friends here, Diana, is watching us, and I can say, y'all spirits are pretty much the same. She is certainly servant leadership. She does fitness, but it's with empowerment, and it's really like uplifting women. Like, it doesn't matter where you are, you got to start somewhere to get healthy. So let's talk about what that is. And I think the more we do that and we give back and we do it in support of the collective, then we will find the need to not need from any other people.
Right.
We go to our own and get what we need.
Yeah, I truly believe that God gives us everything we need on day one. It's kind of built in. Sometimes, what's happening over the course of your life is, connecting with people and having experiences that unlock all of your magic.
Right.
So, there's so much magic within our community. And I think,
much. Yes.
It's so much, man. It ain't just Black girl magic, although we is magic, but it's magic. There is so much magic within our community.
Right.
And being unselfish with our talent and our skill, and our service, and and our ability to build community. It's not our ability to be able to do all of that. It doesn't just benefit us; it benefits our larger society. And so
absolutely,
that's kind of how I think about it.
Absolutely.
Being a part of the HBCU marching band has set like a foundation for me to think in that way. It was never about me or about someone else. It was always about us. We had to figure out how to put on a show. We had to figure out how to ensure that we had the best sound.
Right.
We were holding each other accountable.
Yes. Yeah.
So we were encouraging each other to get better, and I was just really, really, really blessed to be surrounded by very powerful women in the band, to help me grow into my womanhood. I only marched for 2 years, but those 2 years set me up for the rest of my life, so it was 2 years felt like a lifetime.
Yeah. And I love the connections, like I said, afterwards, although you were apart 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, like it's so many people who I hear that talk about just the skills they gained outside of that. Asia talked last night about how she was part of the show committee, like that put the shows together. I was like, wait, there's a committee that puts the shows together? Like, that's just a band director? And she talked about how it parlayed over until now, she works in HR. And so it started all with being a part of band and being in the committees and being in the sorority and all of those things. And so band to me now, so more so, is larger than just providing great music and dancing. It's way more than that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There are so many different jobs in the band. And my job was to be an instrumentalist and a performer. But I was also a mentor. I marched for 2 years, and my sophomore year, freshmen were coming in. So I wasn't section leader, but I was officially an old head. So it was my job to help prepare, the freshmen in my section, and not just in my section. I developed friendships and relationships with people who were in other sections. And one of my friends, Kendra Mickens, and Kendra likes to tell this story that I don't remember, but she swears out this happened. And she said, so Kendra Mickens was a year behind me. So she was one of these freshmen when I was a sophomore. And she tells me that during band camp, I gave her the secret to keeping her feet well. So back then we practiced in combat boots. And she says, yeah, you're the one that told me to put Vaseline on the soles of my feet. And she said, when everybody else was marching around and got blisters on the soles of their feet, she was like, my feet were fine. I have no memory of this conversation, but I trust Kendra, and honestly, that's how I kept my feet, because that's what my dad told me to do.
Right.
Military trick. So I just shared it, but looking out for each other,
Right.
not letting anybody suffer if they don't have to. But also recognizing when some people just need a kick in the ass, like what you doing,
Get it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you making all of us look bad.
Yes. And I know drumline is not as real as a lot of people seem to think, but he said one band, one sound. When
that's
one person, everybody was off.
That is the truest part. And that is one of the few areas of drumline I could solidly support.
Right. Yeah, I was talking to her last night, talking about it last night with Dr. Jordan Asia, and he was like, it was so funny because he leaned into the camera and he was like, it's not real. And Asia said the same thing, like, drumline is not real. Not real. And I must have fell out laughing. It was like, not real, y'all.
Yeah, I'm like, if y'all young people, if you think you're gonna come out of high school and be Nick Cannon in drumline, think again.
Speak to them. Because that, and sometimes you really hate when movies come out like that. Because I remember once I had been an event planner for a couple of years, and the wedding planner came out, and I was just like, really?
I wish it was like this.
I wish it was that easy. I mean, we don't want to fall in love with the groom. Okay, now let's not put that one out there. But no, it ain't that easy. It's not as stream. We wish it was, as streamlined as it was, because sometimes you got difficult clients here, difficult clients there. You don't know. But yeah, I know sometimes those movies just make it so difficult, because you're like, did he really just do that?
Yeah.
Did she really just say that? That is not true.
Yeah, I think I think it's important for people to know, and hopefully when people get the new book, that they realize this isn't just this. Being in a marching band at a Black college is not copy and paste. It is not
right.
We bleed for this. We bleed for it. We sweat for it. We pass out for it. I mean, the untold people that have passed out on the field during practice. We put our bodies through a lot, and whether you are an auxiliary or you're instrumentalist or a director, like we put our bodies through a lot, and we do it because we love it, and that's definitely influenced how I approach my work. I want to work hard doing something that doesn't always feel like work. I want to know I'm working hard, but I don't want it to feel like work, Right. And that's kind of how I feel about working in the Agile space. I read a lot to learn more about Agile. Mm-hmm. I read a lot of different things that don't have anything to do with Agile. Like right now I'm reading a philosophy book, and I'm just kind of taking pieces from, just this conversation in philosophy and applying it to my practice as an agile professional. So I take everything that I consume, and I build my practice, and I build my practice off of it. And that's what we did as people in the band. We were just constantly becoming more excellent, and just dedicating ourselves to the craft. I feel like bandsmanship is a craft. And so I approach my work like that. It is a craft. So I'm continuously, rigorously always trying to get better.
Right, definitely. I love that. Asia said something that, you really don't think about when you're deciding to go off to band. And she said, I was a drum major, I was really good in band. But when I got to FAMU, everybody was a drum major. Everybody was like first.
Everybody was the best. It's so nerve-wracking. Like I thought I was okay. I mean, I thought I was pretty good, but as an instrumentalist, but I mean, I by no means thought I was the best, but I thought I was clutch, like I could bring it home if I needed to, and then even though I kind of consider myself to be a decent musician, with room to grow, and I dedicated myself to doing that. To your point, to then be put in a room or in a band room with all of this just out of the box excellence, and you're like, am I in the right room? Like, should I be in the JV version of this band?
Right, exactly.
Are you sure I should be here?
Oh my gosh! Like, but it really for real.
It really does, but it really does pushes you, because once you realize that these are the people that you're going to be performing with, then you can't be mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad would always, when I was a kid, my dad would always tell me, you are who you hang out with, and if you hanging out with mediocre people, then you can't be surprised if you're mediocre. And so band kind of reinforced that in me too, that to be surrounded by people who were committed to what they did it pushed me to be as committed, or even more so, because I felt like I was behind the ball. And in my work and in my profession, my network is strong. I'm surrounded by people who I believe I wouldn't say just are generally smarter than me, but people who I believe know something that I don't know. They can provide insights to things that I don't have.
That you don't have. Yeah.
So I'm never the most talented or the smartest person in the room. But I make sure that the people that I'm spending time with are people that I can learn from.
Right.
And that's really important.
Right. That's so true. Oh, I love that. That's good stuff. So tell us just a little bit about your chapter. Don't give it all to them, sis, because we need them to buy that book next week.
So in my chapter, I talk about coming from a family of people who are also band heads. I talk about, of course, my experience being new to the band, and some anxieties that I have. I think we touched on that a little bit. But I also talk about just kind of growing into a powerful person, and just kind of sitting in my own power, and the influence that marching band had on that, to be able to go out into the world and command my own space. The examples that I got, in the marching band, to be able to do that. A couple of tidbits in there, and hopefully a chuckle or two, just a little bit of my story as my story in the marching band at A&T. If you want to know the details that didn't make it into the book, find me on social media.
I was going to say, you're going to have to get that elsewhere, okay?
we all have stories that did not make it in the book.
Right. Oh yes, I am more than sure. Like y'all probably couldn't even put all of the stuff in the book.
No, not as
Dr. Ashley got her already had her job cut out for her. So to put all of that in there, oh my gosh,
I left out the story of me fracturing my collarbone when I was in the band. Whole separate story. Yep. When I tell you we bleed, we bruise, we sweat.
Yeah, they think it's all glitz and glamour when they see the uniforms and stuff, but they don't know it's a lot that goes into that.
It's a lot. It's a lot on the field, in the band room, off the field. The trouble we get into, the way we save one another, the way we support one another. Marching band saved me, I was in marching band in high school. The whole culture of band, it saved me. And without it, I just, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh, this is good stuff, girl. So tell us how we can get connected with you.
Yeah, so let's see. On Instagram, I am ebuggers. So EBUGGERS. On Facebook, you just Ebony Burroughs. Just search for me, first and last name. On Twitter, so I'm trying to get into Twitter. It's hard.
I ain't there.
But I am the ebuggers on Twitter. And you can also go to I'm on LinkedIn. You can go to our website, ebksyndicate.com, if you want to learn more about Agile and the work that we do in the Agile space. And, just find me in all your local social media outlets.
Oh my gosh, you everywhere, sis. That's all right. I mean, Twitter ain't my thing at all. It's
so hard. I just want somebody to manage it for me. It's just so hard.
Yeah, I have a branding team and they handle all of my social media. So they shaping everything. They are amazing. Shout out to the family griot. They are amazing because without them, I just be looking at Twitter like, what? I be looking at all of them like, what? Like, what you want me to say?
Look, we were trying to at EBK Syndicate. We wanted to hire an intern, who wanted some experience with social media marketing, but we just weren't getting any takers. So if you're watching this podcast and marketing or social media marketing is your thing, we are, come holler at us, ebksyndicate.com. We still need help. It's marketing, social media marketing, and posting and staying connected all the time. It is hard. It is much harder work than I thought it was.
Yes.
I can't sustain this pace.
Yes. It is a lot. I know. Trust me. I know. Oh my gosh, that's so great. Oh, one last question. So, what are you doing now as far as the band? Are you still affiliated? Do you go back and march in alumni? What happens with the band now?
I've been, there's some peer pressure for me to join the alumni band every year. When I go to homecoming, somebody's like, when you gonna join alumni band? And I can't do it. First of all, I haven't been to a homecoming parade since I was in the band. It's just too early in the morning. So I don't want to be in a homecoming parade.
That's early.
I can't play my instrument anymore. So I really wouldn't be any use to the alumni band except to just march and yell and have a good time.
Right.
I'm a spectator now. Years ago, after I graduated, I was on the staff of the fifth quarter for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that remembers the fifth quarter, if you were on back in the early 2000s, my name was Bandolicious. And so, just being a part of the constant conversation around band life was great. But now, I'm not affiliated with the band. When I go to the games, I try to be as close to the band as possible because I still love it.
Right.
I still love the kids. I love watching the kids in the band, and the intensity that they have.
Yeah.
The joy that they get from it. It transports me back. But at homecoming at GHO, I will march in. When the flute section is marching in, I'll get in the back and march in too. But next time somebody just need to have a stretcher on standby. The way my knees and my hips is set up now.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you get a little liquid courage, you think you can do anything. So.
Oh my gosh, I don't blame you, girlfriend. I'm like, I can't do it no more. Not like I used to. I ain't even gonna try. Here, point blank. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Ebony, for sharing so much with us. Hopefully, everything opens back up, because I know a lot of your alumni I've talked to this week are like, oh my gosh, GHO, we got to get to it. So hopefully, if not this year, next year.
Yeah, I have my room reserved. I done got both of my vaccine shots. I'm protected. I hope y'all getting y'all vaccines. Go get your vaccines. We can go to GHO. Like, if I'll be honest, that was my primary motivation to get the vaccine, just so I can go to GHO. Yeah, I'm hoping homecoming happens, but if it doesn't, band people will find a way to find each other.
You find a way to find each other. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's so true. Well, it was great talking with you. I thank you so much for joining me today on Convo with Keisha, and good luck with everything.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.